Hello everyone. My name is Mouhamed Abdulla. I am your professor for Communication 16165, which is technical writing in the presentation course. This video is essentially made for the student that are taking this course with me during the winter 2020 semester, and for the student at Sheridan College in the Greater Toronto Area in Ontario, Canada. As you know, we got this major disruption in the educational system by the COVID-19 pandemic. It is a major pandemic that is impacting everyone worldwide. And I think every person on this planet should take this pandemic seriously. Because we in this country, in our country, we are taking this pandemic extremely seriously, and we want to minimize the impact of this virus, we are ensuring the whole premise of social distancing. So in other words, we will not meet face to face in this semester, and potentially in the summer semester, so that we minimize the impact of this virus. Anyways, so this video will, the purpose of this video is twofold. Number one, I wanted to give you an update of the course, how we will proceed forward with the course, what are the changes that we've made to the course, how the course will be delivered. And once this is done, you get a sense of all this information. I will then discuss Chapter 14, which is the chapter that is next on our timetable. So I'll discuss Chapter 14, and that will be it for this video. We will have a series of 4 videos from now until the end of the semester. Video 1 will be an update of the course and Chapter 14, which is this video that you're watching. Video 2 will explain to you the evaluation. It referred to as EVA. It's worth 10%. I'll explain what it is and what you have to do and how you have to submit your result or your deliverable. And video 3, we will discuss Chapter 10. Chapter 10, it's related to graphics and illustrations and so on. So we'll discuss that fairly briefly. And video 4, we will discuss EVB. So that's the big presentation that you were supposed to do it in groups, but because of the COVID-19 disruption, we will do it individually, and I'll explain how to do that as well. So essentially 4 videos. Video 1, update in Chapter 14. Video 2, explanation of EVA. Video 3, an overview of Chapter 10, and Video 4, explanation of EVB. I strongly suggest that you take the time to sit down and then to go through these videos gradually. You'll have them on your device, and you could listen to them whenever you're able to do that. Okay, so let's get going. Okay, so right now, what I'd like to begin with is explaining the remaining evaluations. I think this is kind of the general questions that students have at this point is, what do I have left, and how do I finish the semester successfully? What are the deliverables? What do I need to do? So I'll just briefly explain it, and then I'll dedicate extra videos on these 2 remaining evaluations. So by now, I would assume everybody is near the completion of EV7 or have already completed and submitted EV7. This is your major report. It's worth 25%. It's a group work that you began, and you were supposed to submit it in week 10, but because of we did not have classes in week 10 because of the COVID-19, you had an extension until week 11, and that's okay. So you have the dates. I posted all that on Slate, so you know when you need to submit it on Slate. So I hope you do that on time. So once you submit that, this essentially means that the writing component for this course is pretty much completed. And that's it. So the writing component is done. The writing component, we mentioned it before. It's 65% of the course. 65% of the course was writing. And then the remaining part, which is essentially 35%, is the oral presentation component. Now, ideally, for the oral presentation component, we need to be in a space, in a unified space in the classroom, face to face, where you present and you talk to us live when we're all sitting together. But because of the situation that we're in, we will have to adjust this part and then try to do this work, the oral presentation work, remotely. And that's okay as well. We live in an age where remote communication is very important. So this is also a very good skill. So although this wasn't the plan initially, but that's okay. We will learn a lot on how to work remotely. And this is also a skill that is very, very valuable for you, for your life, even after things go back to normal, hopefully sooner than later. Okay, so the oral presentation part is worth 35%. I'll explain the plan as we go. So the original plan was to have 4 evaluations: EV8, EV9, EV10, and EV11. EV8 5%, EV9 5%, EV10 5%, and EV11 20%. Many of these evaluations, they are group work, right? So for instance, EV11, the big one, was something that you're supposed to do in groups. EV10 was also a work that you had to do in groups. EV9 was also a work that you had to do in groups, and EV8 was individual. So that's individual. Now, because right now because of the situation that we're in, we need to ensure social distancing, and so the group work, we will change that. You will do it independently on your own, but within the group, right? So you could focus on your own work within the group, particularly for EV11. But I'll explain it later on. You don't need to worry about it right now. So this was the original plan, and eventually what happened is, because of the situation that we're in, I modified the class plan, and this is the new class plan. So instead of doing EV8, 9, 10, and 11, what we will do is we will rather do 2 evaluations. So instead of 4 evaluations, we will only do 2. The reason for that is again, because we're not in the same space, and doing the 4 evaluation would be difficult. And the second reason is that we lost that week due to the COVID-19. So this is the best that we're able to do at this point. So we will rather change it, and we'll go through an evaluation referred to as EVA. And in EVA, what we'll do is you will analyze a presentation. So I'll give you a series of presentations. I'll assign one of the presentation to you, and you'll have maybe a day or two to come up with an analysis and a summary of that video that I'll tell you to watch in 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, so each person should do that. And this is the deliverable for this is in week 12. I'll explain more later on in video 2 on this. We will also have another evaluation, and this evaluation will be to present your own solution. You had your own solution in EV7, so now is the time to actually present it to us. So you need to do the presentation in both format, in slide and in video. So essentially your slides are made in video, but your face as you're talking should also be there. So you'll have both capability there. I'll show you, I could refer you to some videos of examples of people that have done this in the past, and you could learn on how to do that. So this is worth 25%. And again, here you're doing this individually. So EVA, EVB, individual. And again, we're doing this in order to ensure social distancing. Now, both of these evaluations, EVA and EVB, require that we use, tools, these tools for videos. And so the thing that we will end up using will be YouTube. So you'll create videos, and then you will upload these videos to YouTube, and then you'll submit a form to me on Slate. I'll explain all that later on, but that's how we will do it. So if you've never played with YouTube before, perhaps you've seen videos on YouTube, but you've never uploaded, or you've never created slide presentation and uploaded to YouTube, you'll need to learn this as soon as possible so you get up to speed with all this information. So number one, you need to familiarize yourself with content creation and video uploading. So first of all, how do you create a video of yourself? So, you're talking, there's a video of you. How do you create that? And how do you upload this video that you created to YouTube? Right? So you need to test and figure out how to do that. The other thing that you'll need to learn on is how to create PowerPoint slide presentations with a camera. So there's a camera where the speaker is shown near you see where you have the number 2 here for the slide number. Or just above it, you'll have a small kind of area where your face is showing, and then you're talking to us. And in the background, you have your slides that are moving, like we have here. Now here, my camera is not activated, but for your presentation, you could activate your camera. So you need to figure that out as well. In the end, both of them should eventually turn into movies, into MP4 movies. And then once they are in MP4, then you could upload them to YouTube. So you'll need to get these skills for your EVA and your EVB. Of course, you will need to log into YouTube to upload these videos. And so if you have a Gmail account, which many of you do have, then that's okay. You could just use your Gmail, and then you could log into YouTube. Don't forget that YouTube, Gmail, they all belong to Google or the company Alphabet. So logging in should be with the same credentials. If you don't have any Gmail account, or you've never logged into YouTube, then you need to create credentials, and I think you're able to do that. Now, how to do these things? How to create a video and upload it to YouTube? Well, there's so many explanations online. I'm sure you could find it online. The other thing is how to create a PowerPoint presentation and change that into a movie, and then upload the movie to YouTube. There's also resources online that you could find that. And how to create a PowerPoint presentation where there's a camera on the speaker and the presentation is in the background, and then you change that into an MP4 movie and then upload the MP4 to YouTube. There's also a bunch of resources online to do that. So I'm not going to go through them. I think you guys are more knowledgeable than I am with this stuff, so you could just look up this stuff online and then learn how to do that. And then once you could perhaps help your colleagues. That's okay. There's no problem with that. So every group, you could help your colleagues to get up to date with this. Now, me personally, I do have a YouTube account I use it sometimes, but my preference is with Vimeo. So if you like Vimeo and you're familiar with Vimeo, you can certainly upload your videos to Vimeo, but I'll try to ask most students to put it on YouTube, not on Vimeo. But if you want to use Vimeo, that's okay too. I have no problem with that. In the end, don't forget that when you upload your videos to YouTube or Vimeo, make sure that these videos are placed in the private mode, right? So they're private. It's not shared with the world. Not anybody in the world can come up to your YouTube page and see it. This is absolutely dedicated for the course. Only a person with the link to your video is able to see the video, but a person without the link to the video won't be able to see the video. So we want to keep these videos that you're creating for EVA and EVB private, not public, not something that anybody can access. And you can certainly do that with both Vimeo and YouTube. You'll see that when you upload the videos, it will give you the option to make it public or private. Okay, that's it for this. We'll move on to the next slide. Okay, so in this slide, what I wanted to kind of show you and display to you is the modification that we made to the timetable. So it's really explicit. You'll see it. Remember when we were in classes and you would come in and I'll be lecturing with a projector? Those were the days. I would always show you a timetable. Every time we began the lecture, I always bring in the timetable. I'll show you what we've done so far and what we're doing today and what we have left. So for me, using the timetable is really important. It helps me to stay up current with what I'm doing, and it helps me in organizing my lectures, but it should also help you to figure out where we are and where we're heading. So it's very important to have a timetable and to know what's going on. So I updated the timetable because of the changes that we're going through, and I'll show it to you here. The class plan, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, is updated and available on Slate. So I already wrote you an announcement on Slate. Probably you've seen it or you've read it. I assume some of you did not read it. But if that's the case, then that's okay. I'll explain it again here in this video. Also, the entire class plan, the PDF of the class plan was uploaded to Slate. So you'll see that as well. I want you to get familiar with the new timetable. What are the lectures? What are the topics of the lectures? What are the deliverables? What are the dates? When should you submit your videos that you're creating? The deliverables that you have for EVA and EVB. So these are the three key things that I want you to be familiar with. So this is the timetable. This kind of tells us where we are, what we've done, and so on. I have to say there's a mistake in the timetable. You see on top in the gray area, it shows, maybe I could highlight it. You see here, it shows in-class activities. Well, I mean, that's not really an in-class activity. I just used the old timetable. We're no longer doing an in-class activity. It's of course, it's no longer happening. We're no longer in a class. We're doing this online. So this is a mistake there. But apart from that, I think the timetable is fairly accurate. Week 10, again, was lost because of the outbreak. Week 11, which is this week that you're watching this video, we will cover Chapter 14. Chapter 14 discusses oral presentation of technical content and talking points. I will also create another video for EVA. For you, what you have to begin looking into this week. Well, I would assume this week you're submitting your EV7, which is worth 25%, and that's gone, it's out of the way. You will start preparing for your EVA. And to start preparing for EVA essentially means that you will start learning how to use YouTube, and as discussed in the previous slide. Maybe I should bring the highlighter so you can see what I mean. This is where we are. You need to prepare for that, so you need to get familiar with these online tools. You should also practice the presentation. So I'll assign to you a video, you'll watch it, you'll summarize it in 2 to 3 minutes, and you need to practice before you record yourself explaining this summary. And of course, you need to configure YouTube for video recording. In this, for your EVA, there is no slides, right? There's just no slide. It's just you. Your face is showing up. You're talking to us. You're recording yourself, so you could come in and then record yourself. Now, when you record yourself, you could just, you know, it's not a bad idea if you're dressed up. You could dress properly if you have, you know, if you have a nice attire or something of that form, or essentially if you're dressed casually, that's also okay. But make sure that you present yourself in a professional manner. So you want to be taken seriously, and you want to show that you're a professional person. So dressing for for your presentation is also important. So you could dress up. If you don't have a tie and a suit, that's okay. You don't need to do that. But you could dress up casually as you record your video. And your video will essentially be quite short. As you see here, the video for EVA is about 2 to 3 minutes. Don't go beyond that. If you go longer than that, you will lose marks. So you really want to hit the target of 2 to 3 minutes. Summarizing the case that you, the video, the technical video that I'll assign to you. Okay. You also need to read chapter 14 after we cover it in class. Week 12, which is next week, what we will do is I'll cover chapter 10. Chapter 10 discusses visual aids, graphics, figures, tables, chart, and photos. This chapter is essentially useful for both, for the written technical reports, but also for the slide presentation. So I'll explain that so you get some knowledge on that. We didn't have the option to put it earlier, but it could have also been useful for your technical report as well. But we only was able to put it here, and therefore we'll cover it here. In addition to this, you will during week 12 you'll need to submit your EVA, the analysis of a technical presentation. You'll need to submit it. I'll explain how to submit it. There's going to be a form that you need to fill in. It's a fillable PDF. And that's how I'm thinking of doing it. I might change later on, but I think we'll create a fillable PDF, and then you need to fill in all the details, the link for your video, which group you belong to, your name, all that information should be there. And then you just send me this information. You print it and then you upload this PDF file to the assignment. And then by going there, I'll be able to access your video and know who you are, your name, and so on. And then I'll give you the grade. I will also give you a rubric, so you'll know how I'm going to grade you. So it's not a mystery of how you're going to get your grade. All my sections, as you know, I teach 4 sections this semester. A section on Monday, a section on Thursday, 2 sections on Friday. But for now, I decided that all my sections, they have, or you guys have, until Friday, April 3rd, 2020 at 5 p.m. So your videos, essentially that form, after you created the video, should be uploaded to Slate by 5 p.m. on April 3rd. All sections. Okay. Now, if you feel like doing this earlier and you want to get rid of EVA, by all means, do it, finish it, upload it, and that's okay. And you'll be done with it, and then you could move on to your other courses or prepare some of the other work that you have. So you don't need to wait until the 3rd of April. You could upload it and create your video as soon as possible and get it done with and move on with other work. You also need to read chapter 10, so it's for your own benefit if you read chapter 10, chapter 14. So it's there. Week 13, what we will do is I'll give some remarks on how to prepare slides. Probably I won't give too much detail. This is actually very hard. Usually the way I do this for lecture 12 is I show some examples of students' presentations, and I'll show you what are the good things that they've done, what are the bad things that they've done. So these are all presentations that I have. They gave me the permission to show it in class, and that's what I usually do. Here, I don't think it's a good choice to show other people's work in a recorded format, so I'm not going to do that. So we'll see how to do that. I'm not very certain if we will essentially discuss this in detail, but we'll see. But certainly I will create another video so to explain what EVB is all about. Okay, and then here in this week, what is good for you is to essentially start preparing your EVB presentation. Now this is a presentation that you have to do in 4 to 5 minutes each person individually, and in here you need to talk about your own solution, and so you'll have a PowerPoint presentation. You'll have your video, your video face, and the person narrating, you talking just above here. So you'll have like a box, and then your face is showing, and you could submit all that by April 17 by 5 p.m. Again, you do not need to wait until that date because probably you're also busy with final exams and so on. So you could finish it early on and submit it and get rid of this. Okay, the semester will finish in on Friday, April 17th. So that's the end of the semester, and then you know, I'll try to put all your grades together and upload it there. Upload it to Slate, so you'll know how you did. I did get an email at some point, I believe yesterday, from one of the students. He was asking me, "Sir, can you give us the grades of where we are so far?" I've been very busy, as you can imagine, with the new changes to the courses, so I haven't corrected EV5. 6 yet. EV7 you're submitting it this week, but I'll try to do that this week. The deadline to drop the course is no longer this week, this Friday, but it was pushed by another week. So you could, if you decide to drop the course, you have until April 3rd, 2020 to drop the course. If you want to do that. So I'll try to upload to give some of the grades for EV 5 and 6, you know, sometime during this week, so that this week or next week or early next week, so you'll be able to see how you are doing in the course, and if dropping it makes sense to you, then that's your choice to make. Okay, so that kind of gives you a sense of where we are and what we're going to do. So again, we'll have 4 videos. Video 1 will be on chapter 14, video 2 on EVA, video 3 on chapter 10, and video 4 on EVB, explanation of EVB. You might see that I might be a bit redundant here, but I really wanted you to understand what we will do and how we will proceed. It's very, very important. Sometimes when we change the way of teaching, students get confused and they're in disarray and so on. So I do not want our students to be confused. So I really wanted to kind of get the message across, and therefore I'm kind of emphasizing on what we were doing. Okay, I hope this is understandable. Okay, on to the next slide. Okay, so in this slide, what I wanted to discuss very briefly is the delivery for the lectures. Okay, so how are we going to proceed with the lectures, right? We're not meeting face-to-face. How are we doing them? Again, like I mentioned before, chapter 14, chapter 10, EVA, EVB, they will be given to you in slides. So I'll create slides like this one here, and then I'll upload it to Slate. I will also change these slides into videos. This video that you're watching, that's the first video, and then you'll have 3 others. So you have my voice in here, and I think having an actual person talking, not just giving you dry slides with just written text, it will be useful. It gives you a sense of that we're kind of still in a classroom. Now, if you notice that we will not use virtual classrooms, so I'm not sure about your other courses, how they're run, but I assume perhaps they are also recorded lectures. Some professors may choose to use a virtual classroom. You know, that could be a choice. We do have this choice at Sheridan using Slate, but I decided not to do that. And in fact, this came to us from our associate dean in our school, not to rather record lectures so that it doesn't create so that it's more flexible for our students. So I'll give you 3 reasons why I want to record courses as opposed to having a virtual classroom. Number 1, it avoids overloading virtual classroom capability on Slate. So if all professors are using a virtual classroom, then perhaps Slate will not be able to be responsive. So it overloads and it won't be able to function properly. So that's one reason. The other reason, it provides you the capability to go through the lecture at flexible days and times. You know, right now people may be kind of not in their typical usual state. Some of you may be working at a grocery stores, or some of you may have health problems. I don't know the situation that people have, but we wanted the lectures to be flexible for you. So you could play it whenever you want, you could pause it whenever you want, so you could play, you could do that. So if we were to do it live in a virtual classroom, this capability would not be there. Having a recorded lecture also helps students to navigate through the topics at their own pace. Right? You know, sometimes you want to hear the same slide twice to understand what's going on in a better way. You want to pause it. You want to go out. You want to eat. You want to maybe sleep. Come back to it the next day. That's okay. You'll be able to do that. So you'll be able to move at your own pace. Therefore, recording a lecture makes more sense. So these are the key reasons for doing that. Now, I'm sure some of you would wonder, well, how do we reach you? I'm always available on email, right? So you could always write me an email, but please do not write me an email on my Sheridan email or my private email. Send me emails through Slate, right? So you go to Slate and then you send me emails through there by going to the class page on Slate, and then from there you could email me. That's the best way to reach me, and I'll try to respond as soon as possible. You know, usually I respond within one business day, but sometimes faster than that. But certainly you could send me your questions on Slate.